Carboni's Pizzeria has your Game 6 playoff party covered. Visit one of the over 30 locations. Score big on great pizza. Enjoy Game 6 Friday night. Find Carboni's at carbonispizza.com.
Tomorrow's official NFL schedule release day, as most of you know by now. You can't possibly not know it. And it looks like we're going international again, right? That's been confirmed by the Purple.
Yeah.
We are playing the San Francisco 49ers in Mexico City in Week 11. That's going to be a Sunday night game on NBC. Now, it's worth noting, if I can find it here, a couple of media outlets are reporting that on Thanksgiving, the Lions will host the Bears.
No.
Which means our guy Bonesaw, who acted as if he had the entire Vikings schedule 2 days early, is inaccurate because he had the Vikings being the opposing team on Thanksgiving in Detroit against the Lions.
Bonesaw's credibility.
So Bonesaw, it took a beating right there. There's no question.
Tough scene for Bonesaw.
I think he did have us playing the Niners on Sunday Night Football.
In Mexico City, though?
No, he didn't have
You
where.
took a picture, right?
I did take a picture. Let me go find
you'll have to go back and
double
look.
check it and see what the how specific he got on that. Where's the Bonesaw text?
I know that everybody affiliated with the Vikings was very thrilled with how the international stuff went a year ago, media included, so I'm sure they're all fired up to get down to Mexico City.
You think so?
Take on the Niners.
Let's see. Let's look at Vikes. No, he's got Vikings-Niners at San Francisco Week 15.
That's not Week 11 at Mexico City.
He didn't have that as a national game either. So Bonesaw's 0 for 2. We'll see if any of the rest of it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to help his. You know, he had a chance. That's the thing. I mean, we would have hailed him forever if he'd gotten. Now maybe he'll get some of the other ones right yet. I'm not sure. Has anything else on the Vikings leaked?
I don't think so.
And aren't we? I thought we agreed to an international. Didn't we do 2 games last year? Back to back?
Yes.
So I thought that in return, what we were getting was an assurance that we were not going to have any international games this year.
Yeah.
Does that mean we wanted this, or was this forced upon us?
I would assume forced upon us.
Now, it's a road game. That's the good news is because, so you're not losing. You don't have to play in San Francisco, and you're not losing a home game as a result of this, correct?
Correct. And the other way it's being soft-pedaled is right now, I mean, it's international, but it's Mexico City.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right now, we're an hour ahead of Mexico City in terms of time.
Well, somebody wrote...
They don't have to worry about a sleep doctor.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about all this different stuff.
That's true.
They could probably treat it as a regular road game. I don't know what the obligations are, but they could probably just pop down the day before like they usually do. I don't know if that's what they'll do or not. But.
In fact, somebody I think wrote that the distance between Minnesota and San Francisco is basically the same as Minnesota to Mexico City. So it's not like you're adding a burden there.
Exactly.
In terms of the length of trip. That's very true. M. Tirico made sure to point out the Wolves are not a very deep team several times last night. Obviously, we can't afford to bench Johnny Randall with this bunk supporting cast. That's from Flim Flam. A.K.A. B. Highland, S. Mo, J. Berenjay's shared burner. Yeah, we haven't seen any of them, have we? Except in garbage time.
Not really. Yeah, not really.
I guess, and B. Highland, I think he's 0 for 9 in the series, or 0 for 6. He's not been very effective. I still thought there might be a chance you throw him out there. Now, he, from a size standpoint, might have gotten eaten up a little bit there. They've got these big, rangy wings. There's no question about that. But part of what is ailing the club right now when it goes badly is the offense.
Right.
It's just, there are sections of the game in which it ceases to exist. And I'm not saying, you're giving up maybe something on the other end of the court if you play guys who are defensive liabilities, but we're having these long stretches where we're just not scoring at all, and it's that in of itself is catching up with us, I think. My prediction is no starting lineup change. The last time Finchie made a dramatic lineup, it wasn't necessarily a lineup change. I think it was a benching in the fourth quarter was when he benched D'Lo.
Game 6.
That was against Memphis, right?
A game late. He needed to bench him in pivotal game 5.
But he didn't. He didn't start. Who's the guard? I'm forgetting that we had here. Who was the guy? Guy with the beard.
J-Mac? Jordan McLaughlin?
He didn't start him, did he? He just, in the fourth quarter, went with J-Mac rather than D. So, and that is another way to go. You can have the same starting lineup, but say within the game, Julius, you're out.
Right.
We're done. We're not bringing you back in the fourth quarter.
Right.
That's another way to do it where it's I don't know, maybe it stands out even more when you do that. I'm not sure. But I do think there has to be a willingness from a coach. Because I said earlier, well, maybe he feels like he's got one game in him and I got to keep throwing him out there. But that doesn't mean you have to keep him out there. If you see he's on the same path he's been on, then I think when you get down to a single quarter and I've seen nothing from that player the first 3, then to me it's easier to say I'm sitting him the rest of the game as opposed to benching him from the start of the game, because maybe that is the game where he's got something. But if there's no juice through 3 quarters, he's going to, suddenly put on the Superman cape after that. I don't think that's very likely, is it?
I have lost faith in it. Whatever faith I had, it's dwindling.
I miss Cat.
He's in the Eastern Conference Finals.
He's been brilliant. They're running everything through him.
Yeah, he's a good player.
They finally, as I said, figured out that you have to include him. You don't even have to. It's not even just like you got to worry about him scoring 40. Just get him the ball. Let him feel he's a part of it rather than Jalen Brunson just going, isolation mode. And once they figure that out, they have become, they're not the team to beat in the league. They are clearly, easily the team to beat in the East now. They've become almost unstoppable. And that's since they decided to let's take advantage of, it's not difficult to know. We saw this. He is capable on his own of shrinking or losing interest if he doesn't get the ball. The old deal, big man's supposed to demand it. Well, he's not a demander. So if he's going to be on your team, it's incumbent upon the coach and the teammates, the players, to say, no, we're not going to get mad at him for not being involved. If we're not getting him involved, then a lot of that is on us. And if we reap the benefits of him being more active because he feels like I'm part of this thing, they're running half the offense through me now. Sometimes I'll score. Sometimes I'll assist. The stat I saw, he already has like 110% double plus assists already through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs compared to the entire playoff run, and they got just as far. They got to the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
It's been impressive.
Because he's had the ball.
Somebody asked if I was watching the game with Tibbs last night from that first segment. I don't know if he thinks that Tibbs would influence me in that direction. I don't know.
I think Tibbs watches games by himself.
And I think that's probably
I think he's like you. He doesn't want to be distracted.
No, got to pay attention.
The fan at BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our national cash contest. The 4 o'clock keyword is media. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword media.
You're listening to Barrero.
The radio home of Minnesota sports is also on YouTube. You can check out the KFAN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials, and password games, as well as behind-the-scenes content. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today.
I'm not getting much of a confident vibe from the state of hockey community here via the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Have you given up the ghost as a result of a very disappointing Game 4 performance in which the head coach alleged that the team, his team, your players, consciously deviated from the game plan that helped them win Game 3. Maybe they are as beaten down as anybody because of that, because of what the head coach said. I'm not sure. Winning let me get this out of the way for you, just in case somebody was ready to text it. You can't worry or think about winning 3 games.
Interesting.
You have to win this one tonight. That's all you can think about.
Interesting.
If you start putting it together, it does become too overwhelming, and then you'll be buried by midway through the second period. So, don't think about Game 6. Don't give a thought to Game 7. Beyond your wildest dreams, as Gene Hackman said in Hoosiers, the key moment of Hoosiers, about fantasizing about getting to the state finals in the Indiana high school tournament.
I'm going to pull that up while you're talking to Sam Mitchell.
Yeah,
you've just put me onto Hoosiers again.
You just all you're thinking about is winning tonight.
You know what you do?
What's that?
You do what you just said. You worry about winning game. What game is this? 5.
Yes, 5.
And then you think about Game 6. You can't think about Game 6 until you win Game 5. You win Game 5, and then you know why you think about Game 6? Because you're back home. There might be an outdoor party again, which was awesome the other night. Everybody's going to be fired up. You hopefully play with some intentionality, and then you take your chances in Game 7. It's a very clear playbook. But you can't win 3 games at once.
No, you can't.
You can only win 1.
If they expect to be true championship contenders with Edwards as their best player, their second best player must be significantly better than Towns, Randall, McDaniels, and it's nearly impossible to have a significantly better number 2 with a player as limited as Gobert eating up such a large percentage of the salary cap. There's a lot to chew on there. I have come to believe that Towns can be the second best player on a championship team.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think the Knicks are a threat. I don't know that they can beat Oklahoma City. I don't even know if they can beat San Antonio, but they're easily the best team in the East now. But we're back to that question. Has the league evolved in a way where we got to stop thinking about 2 superstars anyway? And that would, like the idea of Giannis coming here. Or now there's, rumors about Brown, that the Celtics might break up their brilliant backcourt because there might be a schism there. Is the league changed enough where you say, no, you got to have numbers? You just got to have a lot of good to very good role players that all know their role and are almost interchangeable parts. And several of them have to clearly be well above average. I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm not sure the old model works. I've been on the record for a while, even early through this run, in saying that regardless of that question, Randall can't be your second best player. I've been convinced of that. Really was convinced of that last year when the postseason ended the way it did. I just don't think. Now, if Randall's your third player, maybe. Then again, I don't know if he would accept that role, and then it depends on how everybody else fits together. I'm not going to rewrite history. I endorsed the trade because I thought, okay, you're getting 2 pieces. And let's face it, part of the reason that deal maybe had to be done were all the financial implications of it,
yes,
because they had so little flexibility.
That's a main reason.
And that can't be left out. But if you're asking me, I think we all knew this on the front end. The best player in that deal was Karl Anthony Towns, period. End of story as far as I'm concerned. It was, can you afford to keep him? And I do think, though, some of the people who were always on him probably have come to appreciate a little bit more what he does offer, even if, sometimes he's got these silly voices and he says stuff where you go, what's he doing?
Right.
And he still fouls too much.
Yep,
That's
still
still
does
an
that.
issue. That's true. He doesn't flop. I don't think he falls as much. Did you see the New York Post story? I retweeted it. They charted the number of falls for Joel Embiid in the 3 games in which he played.
Jeez. I bet that took a while.
It did take a while. I think the final number in 3 games was 22 times he fell for one reason or another on the court.
You can't be doing that.
I don't think that's very healthy, is it?
No.
Not going to keep you healthy.
There has been, though, a lot of revisionist history on the Towns trade. And just play it out. Think about, they are, even with the trade, which was made to stay out of the second apron, and I think even the first, which they're out of now, they already lost this year's most improved player in the NBA, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was a big piece, right?
Yes.
They already lost him. They probably would have lost Naz. They might not have even been able to do the 5-year 125 for Jaden.
It's not as simple.
It's not as clean. It sounds cool.
Well, and they got Berenger. That draft pick. Now, again, we don't know what he's going to be, but I think there's some promising signs that he could end up being. What's the one thing we haven't done a really good job of? Developing young talent here. And that does have to get better. Now, maybe we're seeing some signs on that, but that Shannon can represent that finally.
Yeah.
But that's maybe what Berenger can be. Because if you're going to play with some of these other teams, that's sort of what you got to do. You got to home grow some of them. Because how many names at OKC nobody even heard of 3 years ago, and now there's people who still haven't heard of guys who are playing like they're the second best player on a championship team now.
And they're going to have another however many draft picks to do whatever the hell they want and find the next versions of those guys. So if all of a sudden they can't pay Dort or they can't pay Caruso,
right.
They think they're going to replenish, or they have the ability to give themselves the best chance to replenish for sure. I am curious what the next move is going to be if things go pear-shaped here at the end, which it kind of looks like they are, even though, again, I still think they're going to win Game 6. I still think they're going to play well and probably force a Game 7. I could be completely delusional about that. But they've clearly committed to Anthony, makes sense. They've clearly committed to Jaden, less so with Naz, right? I think he had a 3-year deal.
I believe that's right.
Julius's was as well. So, because there's a lot of guys, like even with the Rudy restructure, like that has an end date of 2028, so you're not, even if you wrote it out with Rudy, you're only talking about 2 more years. Well, Ant's going to be 26 at that time.
Yeah.
Like the most important thing to me is almost what does the next iteration look like for Ant, because prime Ant, Oklahoma City and San Antonio are still going to be there. So, yeah, you would have liked to have beaten them now before they kind of roll in and get hot. But the most important decisions, I think, are probably the next 2 to 3 years for what the rest of the run is going to look like.
All right, let's get a pause in. Let's get Sam Mitchell's view of game number 5 last night, where the Wolves go from here. I don't want to do too much post-morteming yet because they're not out. But we may touch a little bit on where Sam thinks this thing might be going if it is indeed about to end for this season. And if you have questions for Sam, hit the certainly other NBA matters, 64686. That's the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Back in just minutes.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on the Fan.
All right, we are indeed back. Don't forget, Russo Radio will join from Denver. Wild have a Game 5 tonight, and they got to win, or this series is over. Wolves have to win Friday night, or the series is over in 6. Sam Mitchell, kind enough to join us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Let me see if this will work. There we go. Sam, how are you, man?
What's up, Dan? You and I talking a lot now. Didn't I call you the other night during the game?
You called me last night, and you were on fire. It's the best kind of Sam
you
Mitchell
can't
call.
talk about.
No, I won't give details. I'll just say you were hot, and it was good. It's the best Sam Mitchell. When you're, like worked up, good or bad, that's the best Sam Mitchell.
Well, Dan, look, I was watching that game, and look, you and I talked about this Wolves team. It's kind of weird, man, that they'll do some things out there on the court that just doesn't look like an NBA team. Like, what are they doing? That second quarter when San Antonio took control of that game, it just looked like the Wolves are just going to fold. And then all of a sudden they just keep fighting and scratching and clawing their way back. And then they'll get back in the game, and then they'll turn around and play the same way they did to get back into a hole. But you and I both kind of said the thing about this team, though, for whatever reason, I would not count them out Friday night because it's something about their psyche, their mentality, that they figure out how to get it done. And let's call it like it is. These are some tough dudes, man.
Yes.
I like the mental makeup of the team. I just don't like how they play sometimes.
100%. Great point. That's the central contradiction about this club. You're 100% right. I want to go deeper into that, but I want to go back a bit because I'm I'm second-guessing myself for the position I took after Wemby got tossed. Because at the time, I said, it's obviously the right call. It defined a flagrant 2. But that, okay, he doesn't have a history. He should be fined, but he doesn't really need to be necessarily suspended because he's got no record. I look back on that now, and I say, wrong. You were too easy. The league needed to suspend him a game. That's the kind of hit, I don't care what generation of players, merited another game. As much as the TV people didn't want it, as much as, it takes away the competition. Do you think he should have been suspended another game?
Dan, I think you could make an argument for it. Just think of it from this standpoint. If he hits the player in his face, there's going to be some teeth lost.
Yeah.
There's going to be some broken bones, some fractures. And then what does this do for Minnesota and their chances?
Right.
And so part of being a pro is learning how to control your emotions. And I understand Victor, he's on the floor a lot, but he's on the floor a lot because he's 7'5" and weighs 100 pounds. Right?
Yes.
So, again, you can't get mad at teams for trying to be physical with him because of his size. And he has to understand that. And if his way of fighting back is to just start throwing vicious elbows, then you got it. I'm shocked they didn't fine him. I'm shocked they didn't suspend him.
Yeah.
He got off really, really light considering how vicious that elbow that he threw at Nas.
Let me try this theory on one of your partners. Well, I think you've worked with them from time to time at SiriusXM NBA channel. I heard Antonio Daniels earlier today say that if you're the Wolves, strategically speaking, what probably was a mistake in his mind was not when the act happened, when he hit Nas with the elbow, not escalating it. His point being that if there had been an escalation, if it had gotten turned into a melee, that it might have been harder for the league to not suspend him. But that, in a sense, the Wolves reacted so professionally that it may have made it easier for the league to say, okay, that's enough. Yep. He got thrown out, and we're going to move on because it didn't turn into any kind of a scene. I kind of like his theory.
I agree. If a fight would have broke out, there would have been mass suspensions. Because you know the thing about the NBA, what is the biggest thing? Brawls.
Yes.
They do not want to see fights.
Right.
They do not want to see fists thrown. So if that would have escalated, guys would have been suspended for that next game. Victor probably would have been suspended.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting point. And that's, and it's too late now, obviously. And for me, it sounds like a homer take. But I think there's actually some truth to it. Now, what did you see last night in terms of the approach the Wolves took? I didn't agree with Draymond that the answer the next game is to throw an elbow at him because you're going to lose in that equation the next day. But I do wonder, in the old NBA, the NBA you played in, would there have been a little bit more delivering of contact, do you think, than the Wolves did?
Oh, yeah. Dan, you knew me. If somebody threw an elbow like that to me and we playing them again, I'm getting it. I'm getting somebody.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody getting hit upside the head, without a doubt. Because I got to let you know, look, man, when I first came to the league, Tyrone Corbett said to me, no boys allowed in the NBA.
Right.
They would chase you out this league if you're not mentally or physically tough. And so, yes, look, the surprising thing, when you look at the Wolves players, you would think they would be more apt to want to get into it a little bit more, right? Especially, you got to dirty this game up against San Antonio a little bit. Man, San Antonio is running. They're playing free.
Too free and easy.
They're playing with flow.
Yep.
You gotta change this up. And look, you and I talked about this. If I was Chris Finch, and again, I would think about it. I would think about starting Nas Reed in this game.
You would.
You got to occupy Victor. Right now, all Victor doing is playing center field. All he's doing, think about this, Dan. No matter where the shot comes from, he's contesting it. And the reason he's been able to do that is because he's not occupied guarding his guy.
Yeah.
You got to put somebody on the floor that he has to guard and 2 dribble minimum. All of this dribbling the air out the ball is sickening. All it does is make San Antonio better.
Yeah.
It gives them a better chance to defend you. You got to make quicker decisions. And if I was Coach Finch, other than Anthony Edwards, and I may even do this with Anthony, 2 dribble minimum. Either in 2 dribbles, either shoot or pass, but you got 2 dribbles.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue with that. And that goes back to the maddening nature of their offense ceasing to exist at times. And you played this game a long time. So I'm going to ask you a tough question here that goes beyond this series. I've reached a point where I agree with the central sort of, yin and yang of this team is that there is no arguing with the tenacity and toughness they can show every time they're counted out. It's undeniable. On the other hand, I'm not sure. There are people who get on Finchy and say, well, it's his team, man, and they just don't play smart often enough. Here's my question to you. Can you coach basketball IQ into a player who doesn't have it? Or in the end, does it have to be more about you got to change the mix of players? They kind of, in terms of IQ, they kind of are who they are. To me, it's a really crucial question moving forward. What do you think?
It's a tough one, Dan. Can players get better mentally and physically? Yes. But this is the thing. Normally when the game starts and you get caught up in the game, you tend to do what? You tend to stop thinking and just start reacting, right?
Yep.
The great players are the ones that can think and react at the same time. Most players just go play. It's by feel. They react to what's in front of them. The great players can manipulate the action. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like they can dictate the pace, the flow, where they want the defense to go. So they're able to use their mind and think and play at the same time. To answer your question nicely, it'll be hard for these guys to change how they play because most of these guys play with instinct.
Yes.
They just play on instinct. And to me, look, that's why you got to give them some rules and some structure. Julius Randle and Nas gets in trouble when they get past that third dribble.
Mm-hmm. Undeniable.
They just do. I'm watching the game. They just do. And San Antonio is seasoned on that moment. And let me tell you, as soon as one of those guys spin, they send a double.
Yep.
And it makes it impossible for you to make a good pass. You look at some of the bad passes they made. And then Anthony, I know he's trying to be aggressive and split the double team. But then I used to tell my players this. If I trap you 5 times and you split us successfully 1 time and score, I'll take 1 for 4. I'll take all day long. I'll take 20% all day long.
So what do you do with Randall? I mean, because I know there are people texting, bench him. You can't count on him. It's over. There's a lot of frustration. He has been dreadful in this series. He was not that good for much of the last series, except in a couple of the plus-minus categories, if you care about that. But my theory is Finchy deep down might know it, but Finchy's going, who am I going to turn to? And he is a guy, he might have 1 25 and 15 game in him, so I got to keep throwing him out there. I'm well aware that he's not playing responsibly. What's the answer on Julius?
Sit down, close the door, and have a grown man conversation with him. And just tell him, you see how you're playing. You're not playing smart basketball. You're over-dribbling. You're dribbling to the point to where you're getting yourself in trouble. And guess what, Julius? That guy is 7'5" and can block shots. So what you got to do when you go to attack Wemby, you got to go with the thought process of making your teammates better. But you got to make him commit first. Right? You got to make him commit to you. So I like Julius being aggressive, but I would just want limited to 2 dribbles. 2 dribbles. Because think of it like this, Dan. The reason they're taking all those dribbles, they're catching the ball too far from the basket to where they can do something with it. So if you got to take 5 or 6 dribbles to get into your range to where you're comfortable and feel comfortable enough to score, then that's too much. You need to catch the ball closer so that you can get where you got to go in 1 to 2 dribbles.
So in general, do they start the offense out too far on the perimeter? Is that part of the issue here?
Dan, I watch today's NBA. They don't call plays like we did.
Yeah.
It's all read and reaction. It's all breaking your man down.
Right.
And that's why you see all this over dribbling. And this is another thing. Guys, if you can't break your man down in 2-3 dribbles, you can't break him down. Because once you start going east to west, the defender now has control of you. Only time you have control of the defenders when you're going north and south. Right now, Nas and Julius going east and west, and they're just dribbling the ball out the basket. Yeah. And then guess what happens? Anthony stands there and sees that. Then guess what happens when he gets the ball? He tries to make a play. Then the next guy, and all of a sudden, you're playing bad basketball. You got it. Look, this is about the playoffs. This is about matchups. And there's sometimes in playoff basketball, there are teams that you don't match up well with. And right now for Rudy, this is just not a good matchup for Rudy. I know Julius is playing bad, but to your point, who are you going to replace him with, and who can do the things coming off the bench that Julius Randle can do? And just when we normally count Julius out, he comes back with a 25 and 15 game, like you said.
Yeah, that's. I think that's the reality. Sam Mitchell is joining us, Russo, to chat with us at the top of the hour. All right, here's the age-old regular season question, because I think and it's funny, Finchie had a great quote about this after the Wolves kind of turned the Denver series, because they lose game one and play kind of the way they played all season, in and out, up and down, and the word is, and Finchie said it, he goes, I read him the riot act, basically said, you guys said to me, we're going to be able to flick the switch once the season starts. And it didn't happen after game one. And I said to him, you lied to me. And it seemed to get the attention. It was the right message to deliver. But here's my larger question. Are we seeing again where regular season does matter? The stuff you're talking about, the habits that then you can count on in the postseason, are you doomed if you keep thinking, well, we got to the final, we got to the conference finals the last 2 years doing it this way, we'll be fine. The chances are you're never going to get to that next level if you do not fashion and develop those habits in the regular season.
Dan, you do that because when the game gets tough, you stay within your system. Look at San Antonio. When the game gets tough, they don't deviate.
No.
They play within their system. They do the same thing offensively and defensively. Look at Minnesota. Dude, I know Nas can score, and I love Nas. You know that. But some of the dribbling and some of the moves that he's trying to make and some of the shots that are being taken, it's just those are not good basketball plays. And when you take those kind of plays and you make those bad plays and decisions, it just permeates throughout your team. And now you're doing it, now another guy doing it, and before you know it, you got 3 or 4 guys playing that way, and you're done.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves got to get back and understand they got to run, they got to rebound, they got to defend, but yet they got to occupy Wemby. They got to make him defend on the ball. Right now, he's playing center field, and he's contesting everybody's shot because nobody's taking the ball at him, making him commit, and then making that play for the teammates to make them better.
Here's the rub, though. What you're saying about this not being a Rudy series it cannot be debated. But here's what complicates things, I think, for Finchie. Randall gets in foul trouble. Jaden gets in foul trouble. He doesn't have that many other numbers, so that, I think, has made it harder. Even if he wants to sit him more, and he has some, that enters into it, which gets back to discipline when it comes to committing dumb fouls.
Thank you, Dan. I don't understand that. Like last night, Jaden got a foul last night just pushing Wemby. Like, what? I mean, I would put together a tape of all the bad fouls that these guys have made, and I would tell them, you got to do better. You can't get caught up in the emotions of the game and just commit a foul because you're frustrated because the referee didn't blow the whistle on the other end. And Dan, this is what's sad about this. The Timberwolves are the veteran team.
Exactly.
San Antonio is a young team. That's why I don't buy into this veteran stuff. They're too young to win. If you looked at these two teams right now, who is the team that's playing with the most composure now?
Spurs.
The San Antonio Spurs.
Not even close.
And they're a team of young first and second and third year players the Timberwolves got Rudy, they got Julius, they got veterans all over the place, but yet they're the ones playing like they're a young team, and they're the ones that's playing and making young mistakes.
How much of a mitigating factor or mitigating factors are Ant is clearly still not at 100%, and DiVincenzo, a wing player who probably would be helpful against a team that has some really good wing activity, is not available.
Dan, I would love to see this series played with Anthony Edwards being completely healthy and DiVincenzo playing. Look, Anthony Edwards is playing outstanding basketball on two bad knees right now. Think about if he was healthy. He has to pace himself. He has to pick and choose his spots. And that's just hard, man. And the fact that they've gotten 2 games and got a chance to send this series back to San Antonio for a 7-game series with his health issues is amazing to me. I would love, and I think it would be different if Anthony Edwards was healthy. Even though they lost Dante, I think this could be, you can make the argument that this would be a different series if Anthony Edwards was healthy.
Yeah. Who was I talking to about this the other day? That, the great love that was lost here in Minnesota was the hope that, of course, KG and Marbury could be the perfect inside-out combination. And, of course, that didn't, as you know, materialize for various reasons. And that's ancient history. I don't want to go over that. But I think I project how much I think that KG would appreciate playing with another gamer who wants to play, as you know, all the time, like Anthony. I mean, KG as well, maybe better than anybody. I got to believe KG would have loved playing with Anthony Edwards.
Dan, I would have loved to have been on that team with them two. You talking about a crazy locker room with those two?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It would have been so much fun to be in the locker room with KG and Anthony Edwards, because his press conferences are to die for. And the way KG was, and the way as fiery as KG was, and the way Anthony is, oh my God! Can you? And the thing about it, both of them from the South, so you wouldn't understand 5 words that they're saying.
That's true.
It would have been so much fun, Dad. Oh my God!
That's true.
It would have been. But I tell you what, we would have saw some incredible basketball, and we would have 2 guys on the floor on the same team that is competitive as if I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Man, it would have been great to see them 2 together, because they have the same mentality, and they just both believe that they're better than everybody.
And that's a big part of it. Lastly, what's fascinating about this discussion for me is you're not going to be surprised if the Wolves win Game 6. And that leads to...
As bad as they played, as all the crazy stuff they did, this team, if it was any other team that lost, I would say the series was over. Not this team.
Yeah. So let's play this out. Let's say they do that. What's the formula? How do you give yourself a chance to change it and truly then shock the world at that point and get Game 7? Is it impossible? Is there a different formula that can be used at this late date? What would they have to do to completely change it up?
I think you got to tweak your lineup. Either you got to take Rudy out really, really early, or you start Nas and let San Antonio know that we're going to spread the floor. When we drive the basket, we're going to swing that ball. And you got to make them exert themselves on defense by chasing that ball. And then when you get an open look, you got to step up and knock it down. The Wolves, look, there were stretches of the game where they got some great looks at the basket.
Yes.
With Victor on the floor. So they know the formula. They just get frustrated at times. They get too impatient. And you have to understand, if you take the ball in there at Victor, he's going to block it or change it.
Yeah.
So when you take the ball at him, again, and I'm going to say it for the 50th time, you got to drive to the basket with the thought of making your teammates better.
Or even occasionally take a mid-range shot, right?
Dude, hallelujah. Somebody mentioned mid-range. Thank you.
Doesn't happen often. Lastly, Sam, are the Knicks, the whole cat revolution, I know you know this because you've been preaching it for quite a long time. But the revolution in New York he's such an easy kid to root for. I sent you a story that's been written about this relationship he's developed with the mother of a former high school class. Well, it wasn't a classmate, but a veteran who was killed serving active duty in Afghanistan. He's such, to me, an easy guy to root for, and to see him blossom where they are making him such an important part of the offense. Cat's still got a lot of fans here. I think this has been one of the great developing stories in the playoffs this time around.
Yeah, well, Dan, he's such a good young man, first of all. He just cares about people. And, we saw that in Minnesota, Cat. And it was hard to listen to people take shots at him because they don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he cares so much, and all the criticism he took about his defense, wow, isn't it funny how his defense is not the crux of the team?
Mm-hmm.
He is not the guy holding them back because he's defending. Look, Cat, right now, I picked the Knicks to go to the finals. I think they're the best team in the East.
Yep.
I know Detroit and Cleveland are still playing. I don't think they can beat the Knicks, not this version of the Knicks. And I think a big reason of that is because Karl Anthony Towns is making everybody on that team better.
No question. They're running so much of it through him. There's nights where he's not even scoring that much, but he's getting 10 assists.
So what does that tell you, Dan? I've been saying it, if you give a guy the ball, he's not going to take bad shots or dumb shots.
No question.
He only takes bad shots when you don't let him touch the ball. That's how he became. Look, he's an NBA All-Star because of what? He can score the ball, right? And rebound.
No doubt.
Why would you not put the ball in his hand and make him as effective as he can be? And by trusting him, Karl will not let you down. He makes the right plays. Yeah, he's a scorer by nature. But when teams load up on him or try to double him, he's going to find his teammates. And if you watch these games, he's made some incredible passes throughout this series.
No doubt. Yeah, he's a really skilled big man passer. Great to catch up as always. We definitely want to talk, whenever.
Hey, don't be surprised if I call you Friday night when you watch. I called you because I knew you was watching the game.
Call me anytime. You know that. I love it, especially on game night. It's perfect. It's outstanding. Thanks, man. Be good.
It was fun, man. All right,
a pleasure.
Dan.
Thanks, Sam. Sam Mitchell helping us out as only he, of course, can do. We go from one legend to another. How about hockey conversation? Russo Radio is going to file a live report from Denver, Colorado. Can the Wild bring this series back to Minnesota for a Game 6? We'll find out next.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800